Welcome to the Missionaries Podcast. Stories from the mission field to learn and enjoy. Your hosts for today are Martin and Esther.
And welcome everyone to this new podcast.
Yay!
The topic for today is Dutch people in missions.
Oh my goodness me.
Yes, it is.
Be aware of the bear.
Be aware of the Dutch.
Uh-huh.
Dutch people are different. The culture is probably different than yours.
Yep.
And first of all, I want to say their culture is not better than yours. It's your culture might as well be way better than the Dutch. But there's a saying that goes, if you ain't Dutch, you ain't much.
Yep.
And a lot of people from the Netherlands do think that their culture is the very, very best. That's not that they think yours is worse, but they really think that their culture is best. And that's not them being rude. That's not them being, how would you say it? It's not being rude. It's not being better. It's really what they think. That's how they grow up.
Yeah, there's no good or bad
No.
in their mind when they do this.
Yeah. It's not.
It's a characteristic of the culture.
Yeah, and that's a thing that they are often not aware of. It's so normal for them. It's just how they are. But as soon as you put a Dutch person in another culture, that's one of the things that could possibly go wrong, and often does go wrong. Dutch people do say that they're not nationalistic, but they are.
Yep.
We're very proud of our culture. That's what the culture is. Please do come on King's Day to the Netherlands. Everybody is wearing orange. We celebrate the Dutch culture
Yep.
over the top. But that's a part of the Dutch that the Dutch people have to be aware of. That first of all. And you might stumble upon if you've got Dutch people in your team.
Yep.
Is that good? Is that bad? It is how it is, I guess.
And this is one of the things we're going to discuss today. For there are so many different characteristics in different cultures, and we want to step down and see what are Dutch people about. Everyone probably has a view of someone who is Dutch, and has some experiences with people from Dutchy land. So we thought, why not do a podcast on?
Yeah, at least be aware what they are and
why they are the way they are.
That's how they're raised. So for Dutch people, this is normal.
Yeah.
But in a global view, it's probably not normal.
Yeah.
But if you know where they're coming from, that might give some space in conversations.
Yeah.
So that at least you don't blame them personally. But at least think, okay, so that's their culture. It's not them.
Yeah, it's to understand the culture a bit better, and it's
it helps a little.
When you understand the culture better, you understand the behavior better, and you will be less hurt if a Dutch person says something or does something.
Yeah, and you can help them a little if you know that it's part of their culture. You can start a conversation with, hey, I saw you doing A or B, but be aware, in our country, it's C or D. And I don't blame it on you. I just want to tell you, be aware of it, and you can help them a little to adapt to your culture.
You can even make a joke about it, because Dutch people like directness.
And that's a thing that you have to be aware of as well. That's number 2. The directness of Dutch people is huge.
Enormous.
They will tell you what they think.
They will ask you whatever. On what topic. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. If it's
more
sex,
private,
if it's
everything's possible.
Everything's possible. Sex, relationships, politics, church culture, everything goes. And they will tell you, and they will ask you what your thoughts about it.
Yeah.
And you are maybe hesitant to share your thoughts. In your culture, that's probably not done.
Or you simply don't have an opinion.
That's also possible. But Dutch people do have an opinion about everything, and they will tell you.
And for them, it is a sport.
Yeah.
To disagree first and to convince the other person.
Yeah.
So the more, how do you say that? The more reasons you have why you think this way, the better it is, because it's a game.
Yeah. And in the Dutch culture, it's the better. If I have a friend, the better the friend, the more direct I am.
Yeah.
And the harsher the jokes.
Yeah.
I will
but
tell
that's
them.
also North Netherlands.
Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, it definitely is.
So when it's very delicious, you say it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Which is a huge compliment in the northern part of the Netherlands.
Yeah, and I will make harsh jokes about his cooking skills.
Yeah.
And that does mean I'll actually like his cooking skills, and he's a great friend.
Mm-hmm.
So if a Dutch person maybe is very open to you, it doesn't mean he is disrespectful. It might mean that his culture wins over, well, some
intercultural knowledge.
Yeah. And that's so don't see it as an offense if a Dutch person is very, very straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the culture.
Yeah.
And please help him to understand your culture, that it might not be a great idea to do that in another culture to begin with.
Yeah.
He probably does not know.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't know, he can't avoid it. And if he can't avoid it, he'll make some pretty nasty mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So you might need your help to find a way in your culture.
Yeah.
So please give him a hand. And you can be very direct with Dutch people.
Yeah.
They will not be offended.
You can tell them what you did was stupid.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
literally.
normal.
Yeah,
that's
literally.
normal for us to hear.
Yeah.
Or to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't feel sorry if you have to be very direct with the Dutch person. Chances are 99% they're okay with it.
Yeah.
They're fine. And if you're not direct, they might not even get the signal to begin with.
Yep. That's a challenge for you, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And that's a part of the culture that is not always helpful, to be honest. Another thing that's part of the Dutch culture is that everyone is equal.
Yes.
Male and female are equal. The director of the company is as equal as you are.
Yeah.
If you've got an opinion about the company, you'll tell them. Male and female, they get along. Everyone is equal.
Yeah.
In other cultures, that's often not the case.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all.
Hierarchy rules are different.
Yeah, there is no hierarchy in the Netherlands. Well, hardly any.
Yeah.
Even your mom and dad, the way you approach them is not formal.
Mm-hmm.
They are more or less your friends and not as much as your mom and dad who raised you. Is that good? Well, that's debatable, but that's very often the case.
Yeah.
So if you think that they don't have a clue about hierarchy, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not in our system.
No, and that's in other cultures not good if they do that. So we apologize for that, but be aware of it and don't feel ashamed if you talk to them about topics like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do help a little bit, I guess. Another thing is that Dutch people want to have consensus about everything. If there's a topic on the work floor, are we going into the right direction or to the left? Are we going to do A or B? Dutch people are into let's discuss it until everybody's happy with the final solution.
Mm-hmm.
If that's good or bad, hey, that's not up to me. But in other cultures, it's very normal if a director says, hey, we're going left or we're going right, and this is the decision, this is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Dutch people are not used to that, and they want to have something to say about the decision. They want to be into the decision. They want to. Everybody should be happy with the final thoughts.
Yeah. And everyone wants to be heard.
Yeah, definitely.
So where Dutch people are struggling with is that there is a decision made while their opinion has not been heard.
Yeah.
And they feel very bad
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And they want
to be heard.
They want to be heard.
Yeah.
While in other cultures, well, if the boss says A, we do A.
It's A.
That's not even a thought of discussion.
He's the boss.
Yeah.
But in the Dutch culture, that's different. So if you stumble upon a Dutch person who is not that happy after a business meeting, it might be that he feels that his opinion is not heard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Well, Dutch people have to be aware of.
Yeah.
But it might be handy for you as a foreigner to be aware of as well.
Yeah.
This is the person that's in your team. And if you want it or not, well, here it is.
You have to deal with them.
Yeah, and that's sometimes that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dutch people are sometimes tough to deal with. So, but at least we try to make you aware of cultural differences.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, well, make it a little bit easier for yourself.
Yeah.
And for the Dutch person in question. Perception of time is different.
Definitely.
If a meeting starts at 4 and you're not there at 5 minutes before 4 o'clock, you send them an SMS or you send them a WhatsApp message and you let them know I'm on my way.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal in the Dutch culture.
People get concerned when you're not there 5 minutes beforehand.
Yeah. Let alone if you're 5 minutes late. That's a no
That's a
way,
no-go.
Jose.
Yeah. That's
You'll
very,
never do
in the
that.
Dutch culture, that's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
Because I have put time apart for you and you're not here?
Yeah.
Oh.
No. If the meeting starts at 4, I'm here at 4 o'clock, so you should be here as well.
Yeah.
If you ain't here, we've got a problem. And they will tell you. They are very direct, so they'll tell you. In other cultures, that's different.
Yeah.
4 o'clock might be 4:15,
Yeah.
or maybe 4:30, or maybe 5.
Yeah, something happened. You never knew it could happen. So you're late. So what's the problem?
Yeah.
Well,
In the Dutch culture, that's totally different.
yeah. In the
So-
Dutch culture, you take a train early
Yeah.
because it might be cancelled or it might be late. So to make sure you're on time, you take a train early.
Yeah.
You'd never take the train that gets you at the place at the
Yeah.
time when you need to be there. You always come one earlier.
Yeah. So if you see a Dutch person who is there half an hour before the meeting,
That's normal.
that's normal for them, but it might help them to tell them, hey, it's okay if you're 3 minutes late.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. If that's the next bus that arrives,
Yeah.
it's fine. It might help them a little.
Yeah. Prevent some anger
Yeah.
or some irritation at least.
Yeah. And if they are there half an hour before the meeting starts, that does not mean that they want to be the director of the meeting.
Yep.
They just want to be on time.
Yeah.
And that's it. They don't want to take over your meeting. They just want to be on time.
Mm-hmm.
They want to show you respect by being on time.
Yeah, and no disrespect in being there too early and you're not ready yet to receive them.
And that's a thing.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. You can be very direct to them.
Yeah.
And please help the Dutch people just a little bit to understand your culture.
Dutch people also love their agenda, their timetables.
Everything is
They
scheduled.
plan everything.
Yeah.
And if things are not going as planned, he feels he has a problem.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for Dutch people in general, we speak in general, to switch the daily schedule.
Yeah.
So be aware of that too.
A simple coffee meeting is planned 3 weeks in advance.
At least.
At
Yeah.
least.
And when it's planned, it's planned. You will only hear from a Dutch person if things change.
Yeah.
But if you don't hear anything, it's still in his
It's still on.
in his diary. It's still
It's still
happening.
on. Yeah. Showing up unannounced is hardly ever done in the Netherlands.
Not
You
anymore.
always
yeah.
make an appointment.
Yeah.
It always has to fit in a schedule.
And it's also to do. This is how Dutch people respect the other person by not coming unannounced. So the person that you will meet doesn't feel like, oh, now I'm not ready, or I didn't prepare anything for you, or whatever. So he wants to make sure that you expect him. So he plans in advance.
Yeah. So if you go to a Dutch person unannounced for coffee or tea, and he is totally shocked that you're there, and you see like he's struggling with it, what to do, it might be that he's not used to somebody showing up at his doorstep unannounced.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that he does not want to see you.
Exactly.
That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
But he's just not used to it.
He is doing calculations in his mind how to redo his schedule and fit you in.
He's probably asking himself, did I miss a meeting? I didn't see anything in my calendar. What is he doing here?
Yeah.
So it's not you. It's the Dutch person having trouble with adjusting to another culture. It's not you, not at all. So if you see stuff happening like that, explain what's happening, and they'll pick it up.
They learn.
Yeah, they will. But they might need some help to adjust.
Yes.
Yeah. Privacy is a big thing. That's in the same line.
Area, yeah.
If you show up unannounced in the Dutch culture, that's almost an invasion of privacy.
Yeah.
They are very used to privacy and their own personal space. They all have their own bedroom.
Yes.
They never ever shared a bedroom.
Well, maybe as small kids, but when you
Could
get
be.
older,
You've got your own.
You've got your own room.
So they're used to having their own privacy.
Yeah.
So as soon as you put them in another culture where it's more a we culture instead of a me culture, that might be tough for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that their culture is better than yours or your culture is better than them, but it's just different.
It's different.
And it might take time for them to adjust from a me culture to a we culture.
Definitely takes time. Yeah.
It might take years for them.
So if you see a Dutch person separating himself from the group from time to time, that doesn't mean he doesn't like you.
No.
It only means he needs some time to be by himself.
Yeah.
To reflect, to think, to have some privacy.
And for that person, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't even think about it.
Yeah.
He just goes off for a walk for an hour or two.
Yeah.
That does not mean he doesn't want to be part of your team.
Yeah.
He just does what he always did when he was back in his home country. He just has time for himself.
Yeah.
It's not of disrespect to your team. It's not that he doesn't want to be part of your team, but he just does what he's been used to do in the first 20 years of his life.
At least.
So, So don't be shocked if a Dutch person says, hey, I'm off. I'll see you in a couple hours.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. But if that's not okay in your culture, please do make them aware that that's not normal in your culture.
Yeah.
They are probably not even aware that that's a thing to begin with. So, you better...
Yeah, and it also has to do, again, with the schedule. There's no meeting organized, so...
No. I'm off.
Bye. See you in a bit.
That's a thing that you'll stumble upon as soon as you work with Dutch people. Dealing with money is a thing. Dutch people are pretty cheap skates.
Well, going Dutch is an expression
that's a thing. Yeah, we split the bill.
Split the bill.
If you are in your first date, we split the bill.
Yep. I've been in too much different cultures. I cannot accept that anymore.
No.
But it is Dutch.
Yeah, it is definitely Dutch.
Yeah.
If you go on your first date, we split the bill. We split if we get an ice cream together, we will send you a request so you can pay back your own ice cream.
It happens.
It's not all the time, but it does happen.
Yeah.
And that's part of the culture for a lot of Dutch people.
Yeah.
that's how they are raised.
Yeah.
And but it could look as their cheapskates, their Scrooge.
Yeah. They want to share, don't want to share.
They don't want to share anything.
That's not it.
That's not the case.
No.
It's culture. So please make them aware. Hey, what you're doing now might not be acceptable in our culture to begin with. They might need a little help with that.
Yeah.
The other thing is that, on the other hand, they can be very generous.
Mm-hmm.
They can be into, I'll just pay the bill for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. But in your culture, that might not be that great if the foreigner starts to pay for all the bills.
Mm-hmm.
And they do mean it out of, hey, I've got more money than you, so yeah, I might as well help you, which is great. I like that. But it might not be culturally accepted in your culture.
Yeah.
If you see that happening, just talk to them.
Yeah.
Hey, it might be better if you do it. Well, it might be better if you might as well say, next time do A, which is very directive.
Yeah.
Which is very straightforward. But they won't be offended by that.
Yeah, or pay the bill once a month.
Yeah. You can just tell them, hey, do that. Don't do that the next time. Next time we'll pay your own bill. Okay? Yeah. Okay, and done.
Yeah.
And
if he wants to know why, he will ask you.
Oh, he'll ask you.
Yeah.
So even sentences like, well, you might consider doing that differently the next time, maybe.
Think, no, I want to do this, so I'll do that. It will not.
For a Dutch person, for a Dutch person that's beating around the bush.
Well, for you, it might be very confrontational.
Yeah.
For Dutch people, it's nothing.
It's not at all.
No.
So feel free to say, hey, brother, I just saw you doing A or B. Just don't do that again. That just doesn't fit in our culture.
Yeah.
And that might feel very awkward for you.
Yeah.
I get that. But if it's needed, well...
You help the Dutch person a lot.
Yeah, you'll help them a lot. And you help yourself a lot so they can adjust way faster into your culture. Yeah. It's your culture they have to adjust to. You do not have to adjust to their culture. They have to adjust to yours. Let's be very clear about that. But they might need some help to do that.
Yeah.
The balance between work and private is also differently.
Yeah. It's combined with the schedule.
It's the same.
So, okay, I work 40 hours. I work 40 hours, and the 41st hour, I don't work.
No. We're getting paid for 40 hours.
So
we're not going to work 40 hours and 10 minutes. No, it's 40 hours and not 40 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
There's a real thick line between private life and work.
Yeah.
Let alone if it's normal in your culture to work 50 hours and only getting paid 40 hours. Some cultures are like that. For a Dutch person, that's not normal.
Yeah.
So you will see them take off after 40 hours. They're gone.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're disrespectful, but that does mean that they do not understand your culture.
Yep.
They don't have a clue.
And they in their mind, they're right. I have a contract for 40 hours, so I work 40 hours. So if you want me to work 50, you have to make me another contract for 50 hours.
Yeah.
That's the Dutch mind.
Yeah, that's their cultural setting. But in your culture, that might be totally different.
Yeah.
So if they do that, just walk up to them, say to them, hey, listen, in our culture, it's different. So you better change that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not them being disrespectful to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different question. The last topic is Dutch people are loud.
Yeah.
And loud as in volume.
Yeah. They don't mind if others hear what they have to say.
Yeah. They'll have a conversation on any topic.
Yeah, in the train where everyone can hear.
Very loud.
No
Everybody
problem.
will hear it.
Yeah.
For them, that's very normal.
Yeah.
But in a lot of other cultures, you just don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be polite and don't speak up that much. But a lot of people do speak up pretty loud.
And this is something you will have to tell them.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a clue. They don't even realize that they do it.
They don't have a clue. So if you go on a tram with them and they are very loud in the tram, from your perspective, just tell them. It's fine. But they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
They literally, they don't have a clue.
Mm-hmm.
And they might need some help to adjust to your culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those are a couple of things that you've got to be aware of if you're working with Dutch people.
Yeah.
If you like it or not, that's the way it is. Cultures are different.
Yeah. And that's a fun part as well, to understand each other cultures,
Definitely.
to figure out what you have in common, where the differences are.
Yeah.
It can have some hilarious moments in your lifetime, or some very awkward ones, or very hurtful ones also possible. But they will learn and, help them through it.
Yeah, and you will stumble upon stuff like that in your mission team. It will happen.
Yeah.
Dutch people are human, just as you and me. So yeah, be a little bit aware of that, and make them aware of these things as well.
Yeah.
They probably don't have a clue.
And yes, we do this podcast also in Dutch.
Oh yeah.
For the Dutch people to understand.
And that one's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another thing.
Embrace cultural differences and be open about it to each other.
Helps a lot.
Help each other.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah, and with that, we come to the end of our podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
hope it will have been given a little bit of insight in the Dutch mind.
Yeah, we hope it helps you a little to deal with the very straightforward Dutch people.
Yeah.
Thank you all for listening. Please do like, subscribe, whatever, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. If you have any questions or would like to learn more about our work, please visit emmy.foundation. And remember the last words Jesus gave to you all, as we can read in Matthew 28 verse 20b, and surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age. No matter what happens, no matter how good or bad your days go, Jesus is with you. You can trust his promise, no matter what.